Are you coming to the tree? They strung up a man, they say a murder three. Strange things that happen here, the stranger would be. And that at midnight in the hanging tree. Are you coming to the tree? The dead man called out for his love to flee. Strange things that happen.
Travel through the depths of my mind, perplexing and sort of restless, but ain't no lies, growing stronger in the faith, gotta keep it wise. It's a lot of two-faced that masters up the skies. See the truth, 3D, get graphic with designs. See they raps fabricated, gotta read between the lines. I'm just trying to navigate in the city full of crime. Peaceful but aggressive, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, watching lames give it all. 30 shekels and some wop. 5 minutes of fame, 30 seconds you gon' drop. Should've read the fine print. Now you run until you slip in a pit full of snakes. We don't fold, we don't break. This the rise of the Jakes, and we run into the finish line. Escape Babylon and hope we see clearer skies. I said we run into the finish line. Escape Babylon and hope we see clearer skies. I'm tired of running. You tired of running.
Coming to the tree. They strung
They took the strongest man.
strange things that happen here, the stranger would be. If we met at midnight in the hanging tree.
They left blood on the leaves, now it's blood on our sleeves. You can give us free or let the Lord punish me. I'm tired of running, these thoughts are cunning. I got my needs, I want for nothing, but I'm mean mugging. I guess the blood in my veins got me seeing something. Having visions and flashbacks, like what's the sense of running if you ain't on the right track? The wicked gon' flee, where no man pursue. Who gon' die for their beliefs and be ready to shoot? Reprobated witches got you ready to loot. See, the truth ain't for debate, you get swiftly rebuked. You niggas dying for attention and stuck your head in the noose. You make yourself a spectacle for all the view. You being aired worldwide on the evening news. It's the school of higher learning, make you pay your dues. It's antebellum on my cerebellum. Are we slaves to the lies they tell? I read the Bible, but I'm not your reverend. Get your ass on the right track.
Are you coming to the
Tired of running.
They strung up a
They
man,
strung up a
they
man.
say
They said he murdered 3.
strange things that happen.
What a strange
here, the
land.
stranger would be. If we met at midnight in the hanging tree.
Flee or fight and die a martyr. I'm ready to go anywhere. How about do the right thing and whatever happens, go happen. That part. Shalom, Israel. It's your boy New Breed coming through with another live stream. And we have a very interesting topic today. We're going to talk about the Christian church. We got a lot to talk about, y'all. And we're going to go into the scriptures today. Something that's very rarely done in modern Christendom. We're actually going to go in the Bible and get some meat and potatoes, get some fiber, get some real sustenance, some biblical food to add to our minds and our souls on this evening. You know, it's came to my conclusion that the Christian church, they teach a lot of lawlessness, all right? A whole lot of lawlessness in the church. And sexual immorality is running absolutely wild, not only in the church, but in the secular realm as well. And it seems that we don't have any defenders of the faith to actually add some balance to what's going on in the world, some purity. Recently, I got news that DJ Luke Nasty sampled Kirk Franklin in a song called Rain. In this particular song, it's about booty shaking,
it's about gyrating. And here's the crazy part about it all. In order for DJ Luke Nasty to sample such a track, in order for Luke Nasty to sample Kirk Franklin's voice and his vocals from a song, he would need to have his permission, or there would be lawsuits in place. There'll be a lot of lawsuits in place. But it doesn't seem to be any lawsuits in place. And I gave it time, y'all. I gave Kirk Franklin adequate time to speak up and speak out against this travesty being committed on gospel music, or what they call gospel music. Nothing's happened so far. Now, I want to point out the fact that Kirk Franklin, he spoke numerous times about his addiction with porn and strip clubs. Now, I'm going to play some sources today so you can hear it out of the horse's mouth. So for this to happen seems to be somewhat of an humiliation ritual on the whole church. For them to allow this to happen, it seems to be a humiliation ritual on the Christian church. They're showing you that it's done. It's a wrap. All right? The Christian church, it's done. It's a wrap. It did not stand on solid foundation. You cannot have a religious institution or spiritual levity and clarity without no laws. Now, every time we talk about laws, rules, and guidelines, people like to demonize the ones who are speaking lawfully. But it's impossible to have order and balance if there's no laws. See, for a long time, they told you that the laws were done away with. They said the laws of the Most High done away with. You ain't got to follow them laws. You trying to follow the letter. Although Christ said in the book of Matthew, think not that I come to destroy the law nor the prophets, till heaven and earth pass away, not one jot nor one tittle, and should no wise pass from the law. So they try to use Christ to negate the law, and now all you have is lawlessness. Listen, let me put it out here. You only can serve one or two masters. You can serve a God that has laws and rules to live by, or you can serve a lawless God, which will be Satan. Satan, his law is do what thou wilt, written of by the infamous words of Aleister Crowley. Do what thou wilt is the whole of the law. That's literally Satanism, Luciferianism. Now, we got a lot to discuss today. We really want to focus on the sexual impurities that go on in the churches. And the most frightening part about it all is these sexual impurities and sins, they go unchecked. They go absolutely unchecked. And that's something that you must nip in the bud quickly. For a lot of y'all who follow my channel for some time now, you know that I started off my channel speaking on sexual immorality. That was the main topic on this channel, because you got to start with the root. The root of a lot of our problems is sexual immorality. In fact, I will go as far as to say that sexual immorality is the world's biggest problem. Because the reason why we have poverty, violence, negligence, is because the wrong people are consummating with the wrong people. They're bringing forth the wrong type of life. Or it's causing broken families. It's causing a great divide between man and woman, not having control over having discipline over your vessel. It's causing a great divide because everybody is looking at each other with a lustful, vindictive type of spirit. And we're not getting anywhere with this. So, First of all, let's talk about this dude, DJ Luke Nasty. So on Wednesday, November 18th, matter of fact, I got it so I can see the screen now. I ain't got to be looking down. On Wednesday, November 18th, DJ Luke Nasty took to Twitter to share a snippet of his new recording, For Rain. But fans on social media were surprised to hear Kirk Franklin's Melodies from Heaven. So he used a song called Melodies from Heaven. So now Melodies from Heaven is shaking and twerking now, making it rain. See? The whole world is bound before the divine feminine principles right now. You're looking at socialism and feminism right now. So they're bowing before the woman. They're taking the sounds from heaven and they're making it for the club. To get it popping, to get some twerking going on, right? That's what's happening right now. It says, Sample King, the OTW MC tweeted, along with, actually he says, I have to chill, LMAO. I have to chill. So he's laughing at this. It's funny to him. Now, does this sound like a man who is about to get sued? No. He's laughing at the fact that he's using that sample. OTWMC tweeted, along with the clip of the song, many fans question whether or not the gospel legend cleared the track. The single gamer mixed reviews from fans and on Twitter. Listen, if he did not clear that sample, it wouldn't be played. All right? I remember when Plies, the rapper Plies, was joking around on social media about him and Kirk Franklin going to the strip club together. You didn't hear Kirk Franklin say a damn thing, right? You ain't hear Kirk Franklin come out and say, hey man, look, I'm a man of the cloth, bruh. Keep my name out your mouth. I'm serving the Most High. You never heard Kirk Franklin come out and speak. And now they're taking his sounds from heaven and they're applying it to the strip club. Laughing about it on social media. All right. It says the single garnered mixed reviews from fans on Twitter. Some people loved the track and others thought it wasn't a good idea to use a gospel song to accompany an image of a half-naked woman holding an umbrella as dollar bills fall down on her. Really? But who is going to defend the faith? Who's going to speak out against it? Because they damn sure ain't about to be the Christian church. They ain't about to say nothing. They're not about to correct any of this. Now, let's go to Kirk Franklin and some of his struggles and battles with pornography. He's going to tell a little bit about his upbringing, right? And I'm going to chime in and I'm going to share my commentary because some of the things he says out of his mouth goes to show that the Christian church is not checking perversion in no way, shape, or form. Matter of fact, they're not rejecting the secular world in no way, shape, or form. All right. Now, before I go into this particular source here, which would be Sway in the Morning, he was on Sway Universe. Y'all make sure y'all mash the thumbs up button. Allow the video to spread. I appreciate y'all. Thank you. But I'm going to go ahead and play this clip right here from Sway in the Morning.
Sway in the morning. Wake your fuck ass up. Curse out your eyes.
Not only is he, getting this positive energy and positive messaging now, he's a great entertainer. Welcome to the show, Kirk Franklin, ladies and gentlemen.
Sir.
Yes.
Sir, it's good to see you, sir.
Good to see you as well, man.
Thank you for having me, man.
Absolutely, man. You know what's interesting about you, Mr. Franklin, if I will,
Please.
You know, Kirk, okay,
Yes, sir.
is when you meet, when I was growing up in the church, I grew up, I went to Bethel Baptist Church in Oakland, California, as a kid, and people who was on the pulpit or people who was preaching the word were a little intimidating to me.
Right.
As I was growing up, I always, it's always that fear factor, and then, you always have to be on your best behavior.
Which is unfortunate, but go.
Whoa, which is unfortunate. Now, Sway said when he went to the church, there was a fear factor. You had to be on your best behavior. You had to carry yourself right. That equals respect, because you got to understand, Sway, he's of stature, he's of age. He grew up in a different generation. He's an older gentleman. So when he grew up within the church, you had to carry yourself a certain way. It was a fear factor. You feared the men of the Most High. You didn't want to be out there acting any type of way, right? But Kirk Franklin says that's unfortunate. Why is that unfortunate? Let's go on to let the man speak.
And then you always have to be on your best behavior,
Which is unfortunate, but go ahead.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and you always have to dress a certain way.
Yeah.
And there
Once
was,
again, which is unfortunate.
which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
And then you meet.
He said you have to act a certain way. He said that's unfortunate. He said you have to dress a certain way. That's unfortunate. Listen, doesn't the Bible tell women and men alike to have modest apparel? Doesn't the Bible tell us to have modest apparel? I mean, damn. You can't walk into a ratchet gas station and not have your shoes on or have a shirt on. You can't walk in certain gas stations with a wife beater on, right? So you telling me that a ratchet corner store got more rules and regulations than what the Christian church believes they should have? So women should be able to come in there with the boy shorts on, with the cheeks cuffed ever so nicely. They can be able to come in there with the boy shorts, with the cheeks cuffed. They can come in there with the poom shorts. Men can come out there with a suit on, with no shirt underneath, with the chest hairs blossoming out, showing off the chest hairs, right? I mean, you got to have some rules and regulations, am I right? Kirk Franklin said that's unfortunate.
Kirk Franklin is, man, your swag, your style is better than mine right now. I mean, I see your shoe game is ridiculous right now with the jeans and then the sweater and the top, and you're very relatable.
Call it the top. He called it the top.
I'm sorry.
It's like I'm a grown man.
Okay,
No. The fact is I'm a grown man, but I got a top on.
Man, he sounded kind of homophobic. Sway said you got a nice top. He like, oh, I'm a grown man with a top, looking nervous. Like, I mean, dude, it's a top. It's a shirt. And if you seen that Smile video, Kirk Franklin with the lip gloss on, he looked extra zesty out here in these streets. Let's just be real about it. He said, look, man, I ain't gonna even go in on this dude, but let me go ahead and play this clip.
Your top,
That's funny.
But I felt like you were like one of the first to do that. Like when I saw you on stage, man, you could have been in the early days. You could have been in anybody's hood.
Yeah,
but then you were on stage. Did you do that on purpose?
No, because I was in anybody's hood, man.
Okay.
I was adopted when I was 4, about 64-year-old lady, man. And we were raised up, in really difficult times, standing in line, getting the block cheese, getting the, getting the tough, jeans, and I had a sister that had a real bad drug problem, spent over a decade in prison, prostitution, and so we lived that life, and it was a difficult life, and I was 15 and my dude got killed, and when he got killed, that's when I got close to faith, and that's when I really just developed my own relationship with the Lord, man, and so we still live there, and at 15 I got a young lady, 17 got a young lady pregnant, dropped out of school, and for about a couple of years was sleeping in the car, and kind of got into a little bit of trouble, had to spend some nights, kind of kind of, locked down a little bit. So,
Man, this brother's nervous, man. Damn, he's nervous. And before I play the rest of this clip, man, you know what's interesting? Me and Woodrow, former member of Drew Hill, we just did a live stream like a couple days ago. And we were talking about how the mainstream Christian church doesn't teach on sexual morality. In fact, when my brother when he transitioned from the secular world of music into the gospel realm, he was like, look, it was a whole new ball game. I mean, the spirits that came attached to the gospel industry, which we're going to go into depth, what those spirits are and why it is the way it is. All right. But I'm telling you, man, every time we spoke on that topic a couple weeks ago, actually it was a few days ago, every time we spoke on that topic, we kept losing live streams. People were getting bumped out and everything, because I know that they don't want us to lift the veil on what's going on from the root. But let me go ahead and play this here.
My faith life is the thing that changed me, and I didn't change who I was, as far as I guess how I walk, look, and talk. But I don't think that that's what people should do, and that's not what I was taught. And I had some really good people teach me when I really started getting, trying to be serious about, a young righteous dude, man. That man, it's like, God looks at the character of your heart. It doesn't matter about and really a lot of them suits and stuff you're talking about. Yeah. I didn't rock them because I couldn't afford them. Okay. And I just felt more comfortable, being, the kid that's, that kind of was dancing on the cardboard box.
I think
that's who I was.
And I think that's important, because you look at people who are in church and you think everybody is, pure and without flaw and without sin, and you strive. I was always taught to strive for divinity, but along the path, you might go astray. I remember reading something, and tell me if it's incorrect, but I remember reading something you said in an article about you had an addiction to porn.
Yeah. Yes, I was raised. Not only that, man, is that,
Ain't no telling what kind of porn he was addicted to. Honestly, ain't no telling.
There was some incest in our family when I was a kid. There was some abusive stuff that that kind of happened in our family.
Now he talks about incest, and he talks about some abusive things that happened in his family. Now see, look, this is where the church are supposed to exercise deliverance. This is where when he initially is baptized, when he goes to that altar, when he goes to that church, when he's dealing with brethren, when he's dealing with deacons, this is something that really must be addressed. It's too much of this going on. It's too many children getting molested, man, by family members. It's too much sexual immorality, and there's no real strong spirit that's fighting against it from Bible believers. It's really not. And that's why we're going to go into the scriptures today. We're going to do a whole lesson on Leviticus, the 18th chapter. We got to talk about what sexual purity is, what sexual immorality is. And we got to really show and draw the lines to what's supposed to be and what's not supposed to be, because in the churches, they're not teaching this. They're not bringing things that's in the dark to the light.
A little boy, and with and like I said, my little sister, there was some some rape and some things that happened in our family, and there was some ugly images that we got introduced to as kids, around about the age of 8. Yeah. And so from about the age of 8 to about the age of 29, I struggled with that, just not only pornography, but also being very promiscuous, got into a lot of trouble, at 15, paid for an abortion. And
Now look, let me just point out the fact that if you've been through these type of situations and you genuinely have repented for your immorality, not what happened to him while he was a child, but he said that he had a lot of sexual deviant behavior. If you truly repented and you've been quote unquote born again and you're saved, then why is it that DJ Luke Nasty is able to make a track sampling your voice and you're not absolutely pissed off about this? How is it that Plies can make jokes about how, you know, he gonna invite Kurt Franklin to the strip club, and he's not absolutely firm of where he stands spiritually? Because that's utter disrespect. I'm telling you, these celebrities in the gospel industry and in the mainstream industry, they have to go through these humiliation rituals, man. That's humiliating, bro. That's humiliating somebody who's sharing their testimony of what they went through and what they struggle with, and their music is being used against the whole world, against our people, to promote more sexual deviancy.
You know, got into a lot of trouble as a kid, and I got into a lot of trouble, and a lot of it was, you know, trying to find that missed love. I think, you know, once I started, you know, trying to get right, and I would go to counseling and everything, you know, when I was in my early 20s, you know, trying to find that love that I missed from them. But I still know my mom.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's worse when a kid is adopted and they still know their parents versus when a kid is adopted and they don't know their biological, because it's almost like a sword that never heals. You know what I mean? Because you're always living with, you know, why we're not good enough for you. You know, and it just affected me more than it did somebody else, because I would see my real mother every now and then, and you know, she would lie and say she would come get me, take me to the fair, take me to the carnival, and me and my sister, man, I'll never forget one day, me and my sister got all dressed up because she said she's gonna come get us, and man, and we sat on the corner of the street and counted every car that drove by, because we were looking for her Monte Carlo, and every car that came by that was looking close, we thought it was mom's, and she never showed up and came, you know, and took us to that carnival. And so, you know, my sexual lifestyle as a young man was really out of control, and I was just trying to find, you know, man, you know, just trying to grab onto something that looked like something, you know, and I struggled out with it, man. I just
how crazy did it get? Were you dealing with prostitutes or?
No, because I was too young. I didn't, but just being very promiscuous. Just living out of control and just trying to find that love relationship, you know, and just messing up a lot, you know. And so I'm really grateful for God's grace and for my wifey, man, you know, man, my wife saved my life, man.
Now listen, I just want to point out, man, if this man have changed his life, he wouldn't be allowing his music to be being used the way it's being used. But look, we're going to go to some scriptures. We got to talk about sexual immorality. But before we do so, I want to go to a source, all right? And this source is History Extra. I want to explain to you all the spirit behind the Christian church. There's a spirit behind it because they're not truly worshiping or reverencing the true Mashiach. They're not praising the true Christ. They're praising someone named Caesar Borgia. Caesar Borgia was an utter criminal. He was a sexual deviant. And that's who Leonardo da Vinci painted as Jesus Christ. So when they're sitting back saying that it doesn't matter, the identity of Christ, although the Bible says, he who remembers me as the scriptures have read shall have everlasting life. But they'll tell you it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. And since they have that mentality, by process of elimination, they're serving a sexually deviant antichrist figure named Caesar Borgia. Now, it gets a little bit deeper and it gets a little bit more sinister to what's going on in these churches. There's something else that I want to play for y'all. A gospel singer by the name of Kalante Gavin. He discusses the same-sex attraction. He discusses his same-sex attraction and what he's been through from, let's say, I think he'll give you the ages. I'm not even going to speculate. I'm going to play the source so you can hear it directly from the horse's mouth. And this is a mainstream gospel artist. All right. And I want y'all to see what spirit is being served here. All right. I want to show you that the Christian church is not nipping certain things in the bud and they're not correcting what's going on.
21 years old. I went viral at 15. But the documentary.
Hold on, let me get the volume up. And this is gospel singer Kalante Gavin.
I am 21 years old. I went viral at 15. But the documentary gets to take you before the cafeteria video, how it was growing up from 5 to 12, 13, 14, and you're going through life as a kid being molested, man, by a boy cousin in the family. Like, how do you maintain that? And the preacher say that the hand of God is on your life, but somebody else's hands are in your pants. And so it took a couple of years, man, for me to see that what had felt good from being 5 to 13, and then, you know, you're making up that this is okay, that it's okay.
Now, look, that is a problem. From 5 to 13, he thought it was okay. He was not age of consent. He was not even responsible for his own thoughts yet. He was a child. A child. And from that point of his growth to where he's at now, just recently, he had to find out that that lifestyle was wrong. And now he has the courage to speak out against it. Here's the issue. Within the church, he made it mainstream in the gospel industry. Nobody corrected this behavior. Nobody seen the spirit that was attached or attacking this young man. Nobody seen it. With all these men of the cloth, with all these so-called godly men, nobody seen that this young boy was dealing in homosexuality. They were telling him how blessed he was, how talented he was, but nobody was correcting that spirit that was in him. That's a problem. Listen, brothers, all you men watching this channel right now, we got to start letting these youngins know what it is. There's predators out there. And you got to let these young boys know what it is. Listen, I don't care how it comes off. I set my nephew down and I was like, look, when my nephew was old enough to walk and talk and understand thoughts, I told my nephew, look, don't ever let no other man touch your private parts. Don't ever let no other man come near your private parts. If they do, you try your best to hurt them. You throw those hands. You get them up off you and you tell somebody. You got to let these little boys know off break, because guess what? As a child, you just may not know. You don't really know the difference between right and wrong like that. They just don't know unless somebody tells them. You got to let these young brothers know, man, for real. And that spirit shouldn't even have made it to the church. That's something that we got to, as parents, as men, as uncles, as OGs, as big brothers and all of that. You got to let these little boys know they're predators out there. For real.
For same-sex attraction, it's okay to operate and still sing in church, and nobody knows nothing because you're gifted, like gifted and talented and anointed. So they say the hand of God is on your life, and God.
So just because he's gifted, talented, they say he's anointed, the hand of God is on his life, but nobody checked the spirit that was attacking this young man. Nobody seen it. Nobody can see anything. Oh, they seen it. But they were trying to fleece him of his talents, get paid, put money in their pockets based on this young brother knowing how to sing.
God's going to use you, but what do you do when you're broken on the inside and you have not confronted some things? The danger that the church did, and they do to most of my generation, is that they put weapons in our hand before our times. Before they give you a gun, you first got to know what it is and how to use it. So what we do is we put them behind the keyboard, we put them behind the drums, we put them behind the microphones, and we not ask or get to see, okay, how healthy they are, not just how gifted they are.
So before they put them in a position of power, they don't even evaluate these young men. They just use them for their talents, just like the industry does, just like the secular realm does. It's the same thing going on in the gospel industry. Before they even establish their manhood, they're already throwing them in positions. They're throwing them behind the keyboard. They're throwing them behind the drums. And these spirits are not being corrected. The Christian church does not teach about sexual morality. They don't touch it. They don't address it.
Broken, man. I was like singing in church. I was sitting in church. I was slipping in church because I didn't want to confront an abuse sexually that happened to me from 5 to 12. And so it was a hard thing. It was hard to confront. It was hard to go through life. It was hard, man, trying to sing to people, man, and you see their tears fall out of their face because they're feeling the anointing and the presence of a God that you can't feel. So what do you do being 15 and you go viral and everybody feels your anointing and everybody feels the anointing that God gave you, and the anointing on your life works for everybody else except you.
So the anointing is working on everybody else. Everybody's going in the tears. See, this young man is confusing anointing from having a very good talent. Because an anointing, it transcends talent. An anointing transcends talent, and it hits you to the core. See, the Christian church teaches emotionalism. Make you feel good, feel a certain way. That's how people are in the churches. It's not a true anointing that is like literally correcting and fixing the problems and issues we have. It's just making you feel good.
But I was gifted for everybody else, but I could not see, wait, what I'm in is like, this is not healthy. Like it looks good, but on the inside, man, I was broken. So yeah, I've always heard it. What was wrong? I mean, we know, hey, a man and a man, you know, as a kid, that's not it. Or, you know what I'm saying? Woman and a woman, that's not it. So it's preached against. But what do you do when they're preaching against it, but you also see it in the church? So it's kind of confusing to a young man or a young woman because the thing that your pastor or the preacher is preaching against is all around you. So it was a dichotomy to accountability. So I couldn't receive it coming into my 14 and 15-year-old self. You know what I'm saying? But it was definitely challenging. You know, the world saw the viral, but God saw the violated. What do you do? What do you do when you're confused yourself, when you're broken and perversion is so interwoven in your DNA?
Man, and that's what we're gonna do. We gotta speak on this. We gotta break the sexual immorality, the sexual impurities that so many suffer from, man. We gotta understand the spirit that comes behind who they're worshiping in these churches. Let's talk about Caesar Borgia, the one a lot of people ignorantly call Jesus Christ, the one that's depicted as Jesus Christ. We go into History Extra, where it reads, in Renaissance Rome, one powerful family stood out as being steeped in sin and immorality, the Borgias. The dynasty produced 2 popes and became infamous for their nepotism, depravity, and lust for power. Now, they got a TV show called The Borgias where they break it down how scandalous the Borgias were. And keep in mind, recently the Pope, he got caught on Instagram thumbing up some women with their cheeks out. Which is, you know, with the popes, they got other things going on outside of just him thumbing up some pictures. Let's be real. They made that a big deal, but we know that there's been a history of molestation going on in the Roman Catholic Church for centuries now, and it's always swept under the damn rug. That's because of these same people come through the Borgia bloodline. The Christian church is just an extension of the Roman Catholic Church. It's a sister. They rule over the Christian church. Why do you think so much paganism is connected? All the holidays are pagan. I'm telling you, man, it's the same spirit that they're worshiping in the Christian church is the same spirit that they're worshiping and reverencing in the Roman Catholic Church. It's paganism. It's idolatry. Don't y'all remember when Eddie Bishop Long got caught up messing with all them boys? And he came out talking about, I got one stone. I got 3 more rocks. And I ain't even through one yet. Negro. You got caught with them boys and you talking about some damn, I got 3 rocks. You see what the Most High did to him though, right? He judged him. He left him stricken with disease. His body was left riddled with disease. Because the Most High is not playing no games. I'm telling you. Let's go into some of the sexual deviancy of S3xual Boise. Now, let's talk about it. They were originally a noble Spanish dynasty who switched to Italy when Afro de Bourget, 1378 to 1458, was made a cardinal. 11 years later, he was appointed as Pope, taking the name Calixtus III, and gave leg up to his nephew Rodrigo Bourget. In 1494, Rodrigo kept the family tradition going and also succeeded the papacy. As the hugely controversial Pope Alexander, he began to accumulate a vast amount of land and power for himself and illegitimate children. Now, you got to keep in mind that S3xual Boise, he was dealing with incest. So when you hear Kurt Franklin talk about incest in his family, the other young man, he dealt with incest as well by one of his male cousins. All this comes through that spirit, through the church. That's why it's unchecked and it's untapped. S3xual Boise was dealing with his sister, Lucretia. So this has been going on for too long. Lucretia Bourget, she was also used by her father as a diplomatic pawn as well. All right. But once S3xual Bourget's father died, what he did was he had Leonardo da Vinci paint his son as Jesus Christ. So that white Jesus that you see on people's walls, that's S3xual Bourget, a despicable criminal who practiced sexual deviancy. All right. And it's a book called The Triptych of Prisoners. The Triptych of Prisoners, where you can just get a whole lesson on who S3xual Bourget is and read up on it. All right. But we're going to go into the scriptures, man. We got to talk about this. We got to talk about the law. We're going to Leviticus chapter 18. Now, the reason why we going here is because the Christian church won't go there. They don't want to teach the laws. We're going to go there to show what it's supposed to be in regards to how we conduct ourselves sexually. And this is going to cover everything. All right? Leviticus chapter 18. Speak unto the children of Israel and say unto them, I am the Lord your God. After the doings of the land of Egypt, wherein ye dwelt, shall ye not do, and after the doings of the land of Canaan, whither I bring you, shall ye not do, neither shall ye walk in their ordinances. So the Most High is about to give laws regarding sex, what we should and should not be doing, who we should be doing it with versus who we shouldn't be doing it with. All right? Ye shall do my judgments and keep my ordinances to walk therein. I am the Lord your God. Our God has rules. Ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, which if any man do, he shall live in them. I am the Lord. We shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, which man do. He shall live in them. I am the Lord. None of you shall approach to any that is near of kin to him, to uncover their nakedness. I am the Lord. So anybody who is in near to kin to you, you ain't supposed to be trying to have sex with. So that's talking about the spirit of incest right there. It's just laying it out clear as day. And this is something that they supposed to be teaching in the pulpit. Instead of them saying, that's the Old Testament. We don't go to the Old Testament. When you negate the Old Testament, you negate all the regulations written thereof. That means it's a free for all. Y'all can do whatever you like in that church. You can have sex with mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers. Because guess what? That church told you the law is done away with, right? Ain't that what they told us? Now, none of you shall approach to any that is near to kin of you, to uncover their nakedness. I am the Lord. The nakedness of thy father or the nakedness of thy mother shalt thou not uncover. She is thy mother. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. Now, it sounds very, normal, right? For a person who is spiritually inclined, right? But if the churches are not speaking this, then guess what? They under grace. Mothers can touch their kids inappropriately. Fathers the same. Because guess what? The church is not bringing this out. It is necessary to bring this out. It is necessary to talk about what we can and can't do according to the Bible. All right, we in verse 9. The nakedness of thy sister, the daughter of thy father, or daughter of thy mother, whether she be born at home or born abroad, even their nakedness thou shalt not uncover. All right? I don't care if it's half brother, half sister. That's not supposed to be going down. I don't care if they was born in the home or abroad. You ain't supposed to do that, man. It's wickedness. The nakedness of the son's daughter, the nakedness of thy son's daughter, that's your grandchild. That's your grandchild. So all the spirits of these nasty uncles that's coming out, sitting grandbaby on a lap, bouncing the baby on a lap and whatnot. Imagine them sitting in this sermon right here and the type of spirit that they gonna feel, the swift rebuke that they gonna feel. Those gotta happen in the church. Those perverts gotta be put on blast. And that spirit that's in them gotta be casted out. Or they gonna be dealt with. See, in this Old Testament, if you was breaking these laws, you was dealt with. You was dealt with accordingly. Still some places in Africa, there's still places where they keep the traditional customs, where people getting hung upside down by their feet and treated like punching bags or hit with stones and bricks and beat half naked and drugged down the street if they doing this type of act. The nakedness of thy son's daughter or thy daughter's daughter, even their nakedness thou shalt not uncover. For they are thine own nakedness. They're your own kind. They're your family. The nakedness of thy father's daughter, begotten of thy father, she is thy sister. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. Verse 12. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy father's sister. She is thy father's nearest kinsman. That's your aunt, bro. You ain't supposed to be mashing on your aunts. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy mother's sister, for she is thy mother's nearest kinswoman. On your mother's side or your father's side, you ain't supposed to be dealing with your aunts. All right? Mother or father side. Now, I'm putting this out here because, look, it got to be said. Because just because it ain't talked about, it's happening. Just because it ain't being talked about, oh, trust and believe, it happens, y'all. All the time. All right? All the time. Because if it wasn't so much sexual impurity and immorality going on, listen, the skies wouldn't be howling. The earth wouldn't be mourning. The Most High's wrath and judgment wouldn't be, showing on this earth if this sexual immorality wasn't happening. It's happening. Nobody's just addressing it. It says, verse 14, thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy father's brother. Thou shalt not approach to his wife. She is thine aunt. Don't uncover the nakedness of thy father's brother. Thou shalt not approach to his wife, even if it's your father's brother's wife. You still ain't supposed to be dealing with your aunt. That might not be a direct correlation, but that's your father's brother, and that's his wife. That's your aunt. You ain't supposed to be dealing with her. Just like in the Friday movie, y'all remember what was it? Was it Friday after? It was Next Friday. Y'all remember Cookie? Boy, keep your hand out my cookie jar. And Cookie, she all licking behind Ice Cube ear. You know what I'm saying? And I'll be upstairs. It happens. But you see how they try to push that on mainstream media? It happens. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy brother's wife. It is thy brother's nakedness. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of a woman and her daughter. Neither shalt thou take her son's daughter or her daughter's daughter to uncover her nakedness. For they are the near kinswoman, and it is wickedness. So dudes that's talking about like, damn, her mama bad and the daughter bad. You see all these mommy-daughter on social media. You see all these mommy-daughter dances together. And both of them looking good. You ain't supposed to be dealing like that as a brother in the truth. You ain't supposed to be looking at that like, yeah, I smashed the mother and the daughter. Get a damn 2-for-1. Right? That ain't how it's supposed to go. Somebody said pedophilia. No, I'm talking about a grown daughter. Don't matter if they a child or not. If it's the daughter, if it's a mother and daughter combo, you ain't supposed to be getting down like that. Although, look, the way these women are on social media, showing mommy and daughter, they dancing together and whatnot, and they both looking good, they both of age. I know that's tempting. Satan wants to tempt you with something like that. He wants you to be tempted like that. But guess what, man? That's wickedness, man. The Bible tell you not to do that, man. You can't deal with a mama and her daughter, man. Bible tell you not to do that, man. These are laws we live by. Facts. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy brother's wife. It is thy brother's nakedness. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of a woman and her daughter. Neither shalt thou take her son's daughter. So if her son got daughters, you ain't supposed to be dealing like that either. And sometimes it is pedophilia. Let's just put that out here. Sometimes you got these perverts dealing with young children. That's why you women out there, you got to be careful what type of demon you let up in your household. You all going to work while this worthless thug trash type of dude sitting in your house, and you don't know what the hell he doing with your kids. They're demons out here. You got to watch your babies, man. Neither shalt thou take a wife to her sister, to vex her, to uncover her nakedness, besides the other in her lifetime. So look, this also speaks in regards to polygyny as well, because this law right here shows you can have more than one wife, but it says, neither shall take a wife to her sister. So that means you can't have a woman as a wife and have her sister as a wife. That's a conflict of interest. You can't sit there and have, oh, well, you took two women out of the same family and both made them wives. You ain't supposed to do that. That's where spirits come into play. Because here it is, you dealing with her sister, then you turn around dealing with her. That soul tie not supposed to happen that way. You and your wives are supposed to be tied together spiritually, but you don't want nobody related. Understand that. That law would not be there if polygyny wasn't a thing. It's a thing. It is what it is. You can like it or dislike it. But we speak from the Bible. You see this big Bible behind me? This is what we read from. All right? It says, neither shall thou take a wife to her sister to vex her. Oh, that's also saying just to piss a woman off, you go deal with her sister. A lot of brothers do that. Just to piss a woman off, he'll go deal with the sister. It says, neither thou take a wife to her sister to vex her, to uncover her nakedness besides the other in her lifetime. Verse 19. Although thou shalt not approach unto a woman to uncover her nakedness, as long as she is put apart for her uncleanliness. So if a woman is put apart for being unclean, don't deal with her. If she known around the block for being unclean, for spreading it around, not hiding it, but dividing it, you brothers be catching wind. You ain't supposed to uncover her. As long as she's deemed unclean, don't uncover her. Verse 20, moreover, thou shalt not lie carnally with thy neighbor's wife to defile thyself with her. Don't lie with your neighbor's wife, man. This is the main reason you Negroes be dying out here. Y'all be thinking it's real fly to get another dude's wife, man. And I'm telling you, that's a dangerous game you playing. A man will smoke your boots over his wife, bruh. Telling you, a man will knock your head clean off your shoulders for his wife. Telling you right now, man. These rules and guidelines, we gotta live by it. There's too many brothers getting their head cracked out here trying to deal with another man's wife, and it's just thirsty, bro. I mean, me personally, right? I'm programmed in this Bible, this biblical law. I'm programmed in it to the point where if I meet a sister on the streets and I'm like, hey, what's up? What's up, sweetheart? Look, I just wanted to say, man, I seen you across the room. You looking very attractive. Can I get to know you? Are you married? The moment where a woman is like, I'm married, but we got issues. I'm married, but there's a problem. I'm like, soon as she says, I'm married, automatically all the attraction disappears. All of it. It's like, oh, you married? Oh, lucky man. Thank you. Hey, sis, hey, stay loyal. Stay loyal. Moreover, thou shalt not lie carnally with thy neighbor's wife to defile thyself with her. And thou shalt not let any of the seed pass through the fire, Molech, neither shalt thou profane the name of thy God. I am the Lord. When it's talking about letting your seed pass through the fire, it's speaking in regards to abortion. It's talking about sacrifice. Because they were sacrificing to Moloch back in those days. They were killing their babies. The world powers, they still serve Moloch. They still worship Moloch. All right? The witches that work at these abortion clinics, they still serve Moloch. So when you go to the clinic and get your baby ripped out of the womb and killed, these witches are gaining power over it. You allowed your baby to pass through the fire. That's why if you ain't trying to have no babies, keep your damn legs closed. That part. If you ain't trying to have no babies, be celibate. That part. Watch this. Neither shall thou be lie down with any beast to defile thyself therewith. Neither shall any woman stand before a beast to lie down thereof. It is confusion. It's a shame that in this modern society that we have to actually really reiterate this biblical law. But ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, there's some people doing some strange things with their pets. Yeah. Yeah, those women you see jogging down the street with their little dog, and they got the dog and they just tongue kissing and they mashing the dog's mouth all in their face, and they French kissing the damn dog. Better believe there's some things going on behind the scenes. All right? It's happening. It's happening. And I'm going to show you how this system have acclimated and conditioned people to do this type of behavior. Walt Disney, Beauty and the Beast, right? Y'all remember Walt Disney's Beauty and the Beast? You got this princess. She's a person, a human being. And she falls in love, not with an ugly guy, not with a guy that's not handsome, not with a guy who's bummy or, poor. She falls in love with a damn animal. What type of message do you think they was trying to project to young girls watching Beauty and the Beast? I'm telling you, the human mind, especially in developmental stages, they don't perceive things the same way an adult would perceive them. It's bestiality. And they did that purposely. But it is what it is. Only the Bible gonna bring it to you raw and uncut like this. Verse 24. Defile not yourselves in any of these things, for in all these the nations are defiled, which I cast out before you. All right. And also it says, man shall not lie with mankind as with woman, and woman not supposed to lie with womankind like it's a man. All right. That's all over the Bible. It's called an abomination. That's all over the scripture. So if it don't fit, if the puzzle don't fit, you ain't supposed to be trying to make something fit that don't fit. It's inconvenient for you. It's inconvenience. And there's a lot of things that go into what sexual immorality is, far as the married couple. I see a lot of different preachers and pastors and doctrines floating around about what a married couple can and can't do. Listen, the Bible tells us that the married bed is undefiled. Whatever the hell you want to do with your wife is your business. I don't get into all of that. Yes, there's certain things that I won't do personally because I find the acts to be lascivious. I find the acts to be inconvenient and just not right, which I'm not going to get into other details, but there's a lot of things going around. I remember when the Comforter, oh man, I'm going to try not to be graphic here. Want to keep it clean for YouTube, but listen, if this video goes on Patreon, follow me on Patreon. There was a clip that came out with the Comforter. Actually, it was on court TV. It was on divorce court. And a woman was talking about how her man won't perform oral sex on her because his pastor, the Comforter, his preacher, his camp leader or whatever said that that's wrong, right? I don't see not one scripture in the Bible that say that you can't do what you do with your wife, all right? So that's why I'm pointing that out to say, you got to draw the lines. Now, I'll say this. Common sense will tell you that some hoes are entrance hoes and some hoes are exit hoes. Right? Let me repeat this, right? Common sense will tell you that some holes are entrance holes, some holes are exit holes, right? Am I wrong? Somebody said, I'm going to show some respect, and I'm not going to go too deep into this. I don't want this to come out with too much sensationalism in it, but I'm just speaking common sense, right? But let's go to these scriptures, man. And this is what the Christian church is supposed to be teaching, Leviticus chapter 18. But we're gonna go to show what it is. Because where in this discussion can you say we under grace or the law done away with? Are any of those laws given? Any of those laws, are they done away with? Any of them. So when you say the law done away with, you got to have your facts on the table, right? 1 John chapter 3 verse 4. Whosoever committeth sin transgresseth also the law, for sin is the transgression of the law. So when they tell you that the law done away with, they're telling you to sin. We need you to sin because look, if you find out that following the law, statutes, and commandments is the keys to freedom and spirituality and finding purpose in your life, then you won't need me, the preacher. You won't need me, the pastor, who is getting your offering every week. If you find out that the law is the keys to life, you won't need me. The churches will end up empty. And that's what's happening right now. People are leaving these churches in droves. People are getting the hell up out of these churches because they're not teaching a lick of truth. They're not even teaching a lick of common sense. The Bible tells us to cast down all imaginations. All you brothers and sisters who have went through the trauma of being sexually violated at a very young age, just know that there's people praying for you. Just know that what happened to you in the past, you got to cast it down and rebuke those demons. The world would like to tell you that the answer is to medicate. Get some pharmaceutics and some psychotropics to suppress and dilute the trauma that you've been through. But in actuality, those spirits and those demons got to be casted out. And you got to cry out mightily to the Lord. Cry out mightily to the Most High that he removes those demons, those spirits, the anxiety that came with it, the nervousness that came with it, the feeling of being unclean all the time, the various addictions that you've had over the years based on the abuse that you went through. Because I understand where you're coming from. I understand that when you're violated at a young age, that it causes a spirit of hypersexualization in you. This is how porn addiction happens a lot of the times. Understand that this is a spirit that must be casted out of your household, and you got to cry out mightily with these demons. Now, for a long time on this channel, we spoke about the no-fap lifestyle change or semen retention. And we speak about that because it's one of the most necessary topics to address in this day and age. When we engage in those spirits, when we're watching the pornography, when we're entertaining those spirits. Our childhood drama, or trauma rather, will be magnified. All right? That's what happens. When you are engaging in those type of sexual demons, if you've been through something as a child, that trauma is magnified. It's magnified. It causes more social anxiety. It causes more fear. It's the same spirit that I was looking at with the Kurt Franklin clip. I literally watched the spirit that's on him. A spirit that should be casted out. I can see that spirit because I had that spirit. I had that spirit of being addicted to porn. Being addicted to that behavior. I can see it and I recognize it. And it's based on a lot of the times childhood trauma. It's based on your upbringing not being cohesive, not having a two-parent household where a cohesive upbringing where your family is teaching you the laws regarding sex, something that the church should be teaching. If the families miss it, the churches are supposed to be able to nip it in the bud. And it's usually passed down as a generational curse. We got to get back to purifying ourselves, taking oaths of celibacy, oaths of abstinence, abstaining from impurities. Execute cleanliness at all times. Understand your value. All you sisters out here, all you women out here, don't make yourself a stumbling block for brothers. Now, if you're interested in a man and you with that guy, it is what it is. You can be whatever you want to be for your man. Whatever you want to be for your man, right? You can be that. Keep that man interested. Keep that man engaged. But listen, that's for you and yours. That ain't for the streets. Don't be so damn insecure. You know you look good. You can look in the mirror. You know you fine. You know you're attractive. You ain't got to have constant validation all the damn time. Ladies, you don't need constant validation all the damn time. You don't need to be on social media taking 1,000 pictures showing your body. Listen, brothers in the truth, real men, we see you. We know you fine. We know you attractive. We know you pretty. We know all of that. Men in the truth. But we not goosing over that. We're not geeked up over that. Real men are looking for more than just looks. Because if that's all that woman's showing, that's speaking to us that maybe that's all she got. If that's all that we see from this person, maybe that's all they got. Now, of course, men, we're very visual creatures. We love to see beautiful women, but listen, don't make it a stumbling block for men. Like even when Kurt Franklin was speaking on in the church, it's unfortunate. He said that it's unfortunate that, you can't dress any kind of way in the church. That could be a stumbling block for brothers. Brothers trying to go there to learn the word. And, sisters are dressed any kind of way, man. Like it's a time and place for everything. But you're much more valuable than just your bodies and your looks. You brothers out here, you got to gain discipline over your vessel. Put the blockers on the laptops, on the phones. Put the blockers, those porn blockers, just put them on there. And listen, when I speak of the no-fap lifestyle change, I want you to understand that it's a process. It's a process. I don't want anybody to feel guilty if they look at booty shaking and be like, damn, look at all this booty shaking, whatever. Look, the whole point of no-fap is to, if you mess up and you looking at that because you a man at the end of the day, you a man at the end of the day, you're going to look at it. It is what it is. But what I'm saying is, it shouldn't be something that's hindering you that you rely on as a false sense of a cathartic release. You're going to look at it, but don't make it something that's making you relinquish all your energy. It's stopping you from getting up and living your life where you got all this anxiety built up. You can't, you can't properly function in public because you in dark basements letting this screen and these monitors hypnotize you. Now you don't even know how to talk to women and all of that because you become perverted. What happens in the dark will show in the light. So if you're abusing yourself in dark basements and dark places, when you get in public, better believe that people are going to see the spirit manifest. It's going to manifest. So keep in mind, anything you do that's wrong, you're gonna have to, you're gonna have to deal with the consequences. The whole goal is if you slip up one day, you should go from slipping up every day. Some of you brothers watch porn every day, right? The whole thing is you should be trying to build up your endurance. You might go from watching it every day to once a week, twice a week, once a month. Eventually you start maturing and you don't watch that content. It takes time. It takes time, especially, listen, with all that you see in this media this day. They spend trillions of dollars on marketing. The prophets of old didn't have it as bad as we got it. They didn't see sex everywhere. They didn't see billboards with butt-naked women everywhere. They didn't get on their camels and walk through the desert and see a strip club. So what we got to deal with is a whole new beast. It's a whole new beast. We got to be inundated with sex all the damn time. We can't turn nowhere without seeing it. So as men, look, you got to really, really discipline yourself. You got to be a disciplined brother these days. I'm telling you. You got to. You got to. And some will ask, well, how does that tie into sexual immorality? This is why brothers are dealing with the wrong type of women. Because we're only looking at looks. We're allowing the succubus spirit to inhabit our souls. And so then when good women are present, we don't even notice them, because the same type of women that we're looking at on these screens, on these monitors, the same type of women we're looking at these screens is the same type of women that we're looking for when we walk out our damn doors. That's a problem. Any woman that would get on screen for the whole world to see, she involved in orgies, gangbangs, threesomes, lesbian porn, all of that. She involved in all of that. And those are the type of women we lust after. So what type of women you gonna chase after? See, lust don't necessarily have to be a bad thing. Lust just simply means you desire something. How about desire a good woman? How about desire a woman who is decent? See, the Christian church would say, if you lust upon a woman, you have sinned in your heart. That's what the church tells you. If you lust upon a woman, listen, if you're a man, you're supposed to lust upon a woman. That's a beautiful thing. When you see a woman and she's attractive and something happens in your body, you get butterflies. You feel a certain way. You get thoughts that run through your mind. That's called nature. That's called nature, ladies and gentlemen. The church wants you to go against nature. And that's why you got all this same-sex attraction going on in these churches. This is why you got all this perversion going on, all this incest, all this molestation going on, because the right people ain't dealing with the right people. And the truth got to be spoken. Listen, a lot of these churches are full of single women right now. A lot of these churches are absolutely packed with single women. That's a problem because the pastor is supposed to be teaching women how to get husbands. The pastor is supposed to be telling the women how they can acquire a husband. But these preachers and these pastors, they're not going to teach about polygyny because guess what? There's not enough men to go around. Ladies, your preacher not going to tell you that. In order for you to acquire a husband, guess what? You may have to be a second wife, a third wife. It is what it is. But your pastor not going to tell you that because your pastor needs your support. He needs you to be in that church and pay your tithes and pay your offerings. He needs you to support. He needs you to look at him like he's their husband. Well, he can tell you, nah. You bring a brother to the church that you interested in, your pastor pull you to the side. And this has happened, trust me. I've heard this before. Women will bring a brother to the church, showing off her new friend or whatever. Pastor pulls sister to the side like, yeah, you know, the spirit was moving tonight, wasn't it, Sister Barbara? Yeah, sure was. Spirit was moving. I see you brought your gentleman friend here. Well, the Lord told me that man ain't your husband. Yeah, the Lord told me that man, he just ain't right for you. No. See, if you want a man, you got to have a godly man. That man, he looked like he wasn't interested in what the pastor was saying. If you want a man, you want a man who gonna give his tithes and he gonna be here every Sunday. That's what the pastor telling the women in the congregation. They ain't gonna tell you what it takes to be a wife so you can get a husband. I'm telling you, man, this word, it cut like a double-edged sword. I'm telling you. What preacher you know gonna get on the pulpit and speak on polygyny? None. What preacher you know gonna speak against homosexuality right now? None. What preacher gonna get up there and speak on sexual morality and the laws regarding sexual morality? None. The Christian church is done. It's done. It's finished. It's finito. And man, we got to open up our eyes. All this sexual impurity, it got to go, man. There's certain things that we got to get out of our household. There's certain items and objects that we may have. They got to go. Yeah, I know. Y'all want to hear the ugly truth, but we going to get, we still getting it. We going to get it. Yeah. There's certain instruments of destruction that you got up in your households right now that's keeping you ladies from getting a real man. Yeah, there's certain instruments of destruction. Certain instruments that got all kind of poisonous gases, plastics, toxic plastics. There's all type of instruments that's in your dresser drawer, underneath your mattress. And these instruments you're using, and you're using them, and you're using them, and you're using them. I'd like to give you an analogy, right? I'm going to give you an analogy here. So, if you're used to doing something yourself, right? You're always doing it yourself. Then, when somebody else does this very special thing, guess what? There's no feeling. It's not right. It just ain't done right. You can't be pleased and you can't be satisfied on how somebody else is doing something that you are used to doing yourself. Not to mention that it's not always like elastic when you're trying to mold something. doesn't always come back. All right? Especially if it's something going there that ain't supposed to be there. You know? Am I making any sense to y'all? All you brothers out there, right? They done got you conditioned to accept the artificial. You see these sex dolls being sold? Because I ain't letting y'all off the hook either. Some of you brothers, y'all got a blow-up doll, sex doll, big booty Melinda. Y'all got her folded up in the closet somewhere. And trust and believe, some of you brothers then lost the natural affection for a woman. Some of you brothers go out and y'all stand in a corner and you looking at women like a total creep. And then you go home and you pull Melinda up out the closet and you doing all kind of ungodly things. Yep. Some of y'all got things you can pull out your pocket. You got something, y'all playing with grapefruits and oranges and all apple pies and all. Man, come on, man. We living in a time that the Bible spoke of where we will lose the natural affection towards each other. You know how many women, they be in the club, they be looking at brothers, they be like, oh, he attractive, but I'm too stuck up. I ain't talking to him. I'm the truth. I'm fly out here. I'm this. But then they go home and they pull out a damn lightsaber. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Mean with the lightsaber. Zoom. Soon as they get home. I ain't lying. I am not lying to you. I'm not. Tell you the truth. Yeah, it's a fact. I mean, I know. It's a tough pill to digest, but it's the truth. Christian church ain't gonna talk about, they don't teach on sexual immorality. All those things are sexual immorality. All of it. All of it. Is there anything that we didn't cover? Total transparency. I'm just keeping it real with y'all, man. But that's how it go, man. Somebody, man, my bad. I didn't even get to y'all comments, man. I've been going on a tangent. All jokes to the side, we speaking the facts today. If this live stream does not make it, which more than likely, this is going on Patreon. Now you see why you need to go ahead and follow me on Patreon. So you can watch these playbacks. For those who don't catch it, follow me on Patreon, y'all. Straight up. But, you know, hopefully this video helped you out in your walk and your journey. All jokes to the side. You know, when somebody is damaged as a child, that's a very serious matter. That ain't nothing to joke about, nothing to play about. And you know, my prayers go out to you. There's a lot of scriptures about healing and the renewal of your mind that I would recommend you go into. I would recommend that you go into the book of Proverbs. I would recommend that you read the book of Psalms. And, you know, just start off on a general basis. For those who are leaving the abusive Roman Catholic pagan Christian church, who have not been taught this, who have not got real true fiber out of the word, I'm obliging you to start off and get you some milk. And before you get all the fiber, go in there, go into the book of Proverbs, read the word, and man, like, you know, start following these lessons that I'm teaching here online. If you know individuals who need to hear this particular live stream, share it with them. Hopefully this video can stay on this platform. I don't know, it might be deemed sexually suggestive, inappropriate, whatever. But I mean, you know, somebody got to say it for what it is, man. Hopefully this video helped you out in your walk and your journey. I love y'all. Thank y'all for supporting. Everybody who sent super chats, salute, salute, salute. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thanks for supporting. Y'all have a blessed evening. With that being said, shalom and peace.